A wonderful day. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today we're going to talk about BRICS. A lot of you have heard about BRICS. You've asked me about BRICS, and I'm going to tell you what BRICS is and give you my assessment as to whether or not this situation with BRICS can affect the power of the U.S. dollar long term. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. This is theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day under the B1 condition. B1 means we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first means we educate our kids. Black first means we break generational curses. We do not continue them. Black first also means that we want to build for our community. So if you are Black first, if you agree, then put a B1 in the chat. Put a B1. Also, let me know what city you're from. I'd like to see what city you guys are coming from. I'll shout your city back if I see it. C-Dub, what's going on, brother? How are you? Just Blaze from New Orleans. Tyson Williams, what's going on? Wavy says, I've been watching since 2009. This is the end of the dollar. Believe me, could be. I'll give you my assessment in a second. My name is Corey. How are you doing, brother? From Baltimore. Alton Perkins out of Chandler, Arizona. Who is that? Ypsilanti, Michigan. I saw Ypsilanti somewhere in there. There we go. Jesse. Let's see. Scorpion out of Dallas. Wavy McFly, Queens, New York City. Sharif out of Boston. Good to see you, brother. Good to see all of you. All right, so how many of you, give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if my audio is good. Give me a yes if you are hearing the transmission. Give me a yes if you can hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. I always have to check the audio because y'all know how I am. I'll hit the wrong button and then, then the audio goes bad. Okay, what's up to everybody on TikTok? I don't go live on TikTok that often, but today is the day we're going to go live. All right, so hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. By the way, my website is boycewatkins.com, and I'll be speaking in LA on September 8th and 9th. So if you want to join us for a 2-day wealth event in LA, feel free to do that. Just go to boycewatkins.com. You can also get a free copy of our $5 a day investing plan. You can get profit alerts. In fact, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll give you the stock that we gave out today as our profit alert, and hopefully there'll be something worth investing in. This is not investing advice. It's just me telling you what I decided to buy. So feel free to go take a look. We do not give investing advice on this channel. I want to make that clear. All right. So anyway, let's get into this. All right. So some of you have heard of BRICS. A lot of you have heard of BRICS and what it stands for and what it means. BRICS is something you should know about, particularly if you care about global economic affairs. As many of you might know from conversations we've had on this channel, don't think that economics is not warfare. Do not think that economics is not war. Economics is warfare. The United States declares economic war all throughout the world. The U.S. declares economic war on the Black community. Before, you were an economic asset that they used in order to gain profits for themselves. And then later on, you became an economic asset as a free slave or as a paid slave. Instead of the unpaid slaves that you were, you became the paid slave. So they then were making money from you through excessive consumerism, which is taught to you from birth. They make money from you from the prison industrial complex. When Joe Biden built all those prisons, they were making money from that. They make money from you from the corporate plantation. That's why they send you to college and teach you how to go work for white people when you graduate. All these things lead you into becoming an economic asset for other people. And economic warfare basically says that anything that threatens their economic interests, they're going to have a big problem with it, which makes me a threat, I guess, because I'm a finance professor who's teaching the Black community about the things I learned in economics from getting my PhD. But I'm going to keep on doing it because I think that we need to be economically intelligent in order for us to survive, thrive, and prosper. All right. So with that said, the United States isn't just doing this to African Americans. It's been doing this to countries all over the world. The U.S. has been using this global economic dominance to harm countries all over the planet. It's been using its economics to manage other countries. It's been literally, how many of y'all knew this? Do y'all know this? The United States has literally economically sanctioned 1/3 of the world's population. Did y'all know that? The U.S. has economically sanctioned 1/3 of the world's population. So as we get into this discussion of BRICS and what people are doing to fight back, you have to sort of put it in that context. We pretty much have been economic gangsters of the world. We've been really engaging in ways that are ethically questionable, that have led to a scenario where the chickens are coming home to roost. Well, let me tell you about those chickens. As you hit the thumbs up button, let me tell you what happened. So basically, BRICS started in 2009. it's been relatively quiet for a while. It's sort of had an uptick in terms of interest, in terms of conversation. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And that name came, I think, from a banker at Goldman Sachs or something that was talking about different emerging economies that and sort of lumped them into this group, right? So emerging markets have a lot of economic power. They have a lot of the world's population. One of the biggest problems that we have in the world is that there is not a good balance of wealth around the world. You have a few elite people that have tons of money and they don't really want to share it, right? So it's kind of a crazy world we live in. We live in a world where some guy could be sitting on $100 billion while the guy next to him is starving. So ultimately, BRICS was created in a way to kind of try to balance that power. And so those original countries, Brazil, India, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, they've been expanding pretty rapidly lately. I think in light of what happened with the Ukraine war, Russia has been working to really stretch out the BRICS nations. And in fact, actually, Russia has pushed to get more nations. It's been giving free grain to African countries, things like that, to really get more countries into BRICS. And they're really making a play for the dominance of against the dominance of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And so let me just kind of give you some facts and some basics to kind of help you understand what's going on here. So effectively, because the United States has always used its economic power to punish other countries, people are sick of that. I mean, other countries are just tired of that. Now somebody says this could be seen as anti-American rhetoric. It's not anti-American. It's just chickens coming home to roost. It's just objective analysis. It's just me saying this is what I see, and this is the problem. The United States, and this is interesting because it links back to white supremacy. It links back to the same self-righteousness that we've had to deal with, where people judge you before they decide whether or not you get to eat or not. And the imposition of economic sanctions isn't just something that's done around the world. Economic sanctions is basically where if you get out of line, they shut you down economically. If you mess up, they take your money away. If you get out of line on your job, you know what's going to happen. You out the door. How many of you feel at some point that you've faced economic consequences because you didn't go along and get along with whatever you were being told to do? Like, how many of you feel like at some point you have felt some sort of economic pain, maybe because you were told on your job to behave a certain way and you didn't do it. So next thing you know, you lost the job, or you didn't get the promotion, or you didn't get the opportunities. The economic sanctions, it's not just something that's a global thing. I want to bring it back to you so you can understand all it is. All it is basically saying that because you misbehaved, we're going to mess up your money. Because you didn't do what we told you, you're not going to get invited into the economy. Because we're mad at you, we're going to blackball you. And I know economic sanctions very well, not just because my doctorate's in finance and I understand the power of money, but also that's happened in my own life. When I was at University of Kentucky 25 years ago, writing articles about race and racism, and I was pretty radical as a grad student. I'm still pretty much the same, and my ideas haven't changed. It's just I've gotten better at communicating those ideas. But even in my 20s, I was like, this ain't right. This racism thing's crazy. The University of Kentucky was an incredibly racist institution, still is. They don't really hire black people. They love to bring black people on the basketball team. And I used to talk about that. I used to break it down. And I said, you're not paying your black athletes. You're stealing from the black community. This is racism. You're stealing their right to get an education. And I had people come to me and these were my friends. These were people that wanted what was best for me. They thought they were doing the right thing. And what they would say to me is they would say this. Some of you may know these conversations. They would say, Boyce, if you keep talking like that, you're not going to get a good job. If you keep talking like that, it's going to affect your career. Anybody ever heard that kind of talk? Right? And because I was the only black man on the planet, black man or woman on earth, African American anyway, to get a PhD in finance when I graduated in the year 2002. That's how hard it was. That's how rare it was. It was extremely rare. And I had the world open up to me. The whole world was open to me. My first job I made well over $100,000 a year over 20 years ago. Right. So I was hot stuff. I was the number one draft pick. I was like, Deion Sanders coming out in the draft. And I knew I was the man. But here's the problem, though. I did not have the politics that reflected the preference of those who had power. Right. I didn't have the politics that fit into a white supremacist construct. I was too woke at that point, to the point where, because I was alert and I understood the world and I spoke about it, I ended up kind of having some problems. I dealt with economic sanctions. I'm going to get back to BRICS in a minute. And I wanted to just lay that example out to just sort of express to you that what you see happen in the United States is not new. What you see happening in your job is similar to what the United States does all around the world. They go to African countries, and the World Bank is about to make a loan to help this country feed its people. And the United States comes in and says, oh, we were looking through your laws and we found you don't have the right gay. We don't like your position on gay rights. And you're like, well, what does that have to do with the money? Well, we're not comfortable loaning money to a country that doesn't support LGBT like we do. So we're gonna not only take away your money, but we're gonna eventually like take away your power, remove your leaders, and then we might pull our ships on your shores and bomb you. And because we're gonna just decide that you're just a bad person that needs to be removed. And our people are stupid. Our people just are sheep. They'll follow along anything we tell them to do because unfortunately they trust the government, and so they're gonna just go along with it and finance our ability to come in and just bomb you to oblivion and take away all your money. That's what the United States has been doing, and that's why countries get mad. I'm not saying that I'm not here to be anti-American. I'm not here to be anti-nothing. I'm just here to be pro-truth. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. Muammar Gaddafi, why ain't he here right now? Well, somebody in the United States got mad. He was messing with their money. Next thing you know, there were implications. So here's the funny thing. People say that the US dollar isn't backed by anything, right? Since Bretton Woods and all that the US dollar is not backed by gold, not backed by anything meaningful, right? Well, you know what the US dollar is backed by? What do y'all think it's backed by? Somebody guess in the chat. What do you think is the backing of the US dollar? The US dollar has some of the strongest backing on earth. What do you think the backing is? Oh, it's called like Tomahawk cruise missiles. That's the backing of. It's called a massive arsenal of nuclear weapons. It's called like the most expensive, most elaborate military advanced military on the entire planet. That's the backing of the dollar. That's what backs the U.S. dollar. It's the fact that if you don't do what we say, we're gonna take your money and whoop your ass. They have been Deboing. You remember Debo from Friday? Anybody remember how Debo would just walk up? And then he'd be like, I got $5. And Nebo like, no, I got $5, right? Like that's what the United States has always been doing. They've been deboing other countries and imposing their values onto other people. No different from the way the missionaries would come to Africa and they'd have a Bible in one hand, some food in the other hand, and they say, look, you want the food? Oh, but you gotta take the Bible. You gotta read the Bible to me because if you don't, because good people don't deserve to eat. Hey, your bad people better yet. Bad people don't get to eat. So if you want to eat, you got to read the Bible. You have to take our religion. If you don't take our religion and our values, then we will not feed you. We're going to take away what you have. So effectively, BRICS, if you want to know what BRICS is all about, in my view, this is my 2 cents, my opinion based on my analysis and my subconscious kind of popping into this. BRICS is basically just them saying, F you. You've been screwing the world for such a long time. You've been walking around slamming your penis on the table all around the world, and we're sick of it. We're tired of it. I'm not saying that I support BRICS. I'm just saying I understand. It's like OJ when they said, I'm not saying he should have killed him, but I understand. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with BRICS. I mean, it's tough, right? Because I'm an American. I don't want my country to get screwed up, but I understand. I understand. In fact, when I wrote my book, my latest book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. That's basically Black BRICS. That's the Black version of BRICS. What I specifically basically talk to you all about in this book is form your economic coalitions so you can disconnect from the U.S. economy in whatever way that you can, because these systems are incredibly racist. These systems are built on bias. These systems are built on a white supremacy that puts Mr. White Man at the top of the pile and the rest of us down at the bottom. This system is not something that you can bet on and bet your life on and invest all your energy into, because this system's not built for you to win. This system is not one that's designed for you to have power. You have the type of influence and power that you deserve. So effectively, BRICS is no different from what's in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I basically said, get with your relatives, get with your loved ones, get with your economic teammates, your economic family, and form scenarios where you can have financial security without having to go across the street and beg a white man for a job. Powernomics is all about that. So all the BRICS countries are doing, shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote the book Powernomics. His website is powernomics.com. Every child needs to read that book. I keep a copy right here. I keep a copy right on my desk because because this is one of my economic Bibles. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. They're just doing Powernomics. That's it. They're just doing Powernomics. They're doing exactly what Dr. Anderson says. They're saying, wait a minute, hold on. Why in the world, with all this collective power that we have, are we sitting around letting these buttholes tell us what to do, judge our people, control our governments, when in fact we can actually work together and create an economy of our own. So the existence of BRICS is something that I applaud, I approve, I agree with it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Also, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you ever can't find me or you don't hear from me or you want to check out some of the, just go to Spotify, look for my name. We got over 1 million downloads in the last couple months. So we're doing good. We're growing on Spotify. So, and we're independent. We're breaking away from the mainstream. I don't want to be mainstream. My goal is not to be mainstream. Also, I'm going to be in Los Angeles talking to anybody in the LA area or that wants to fly in about how to break away from that, right? So I'm gonna talk specifically about building platforms and brand building and how I was able to get millions of followers without anybody's help and literally just lay that game out for you. And I'm gonna do it one time and one time only, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com. Also at my website, boycewatkins.com, you can sign up to get profit alerts where I'll send you stocks that I'm buying. In fact, I'll give you one toward the end of this video. So just hang out to the end of the video and all that. So lots of free resources on my website, boycewatkins.com. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. So here's the thing. We're talking about BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Give me a yes if you've been following BRICS. Give me a yes if you've noticed anything that's been happening with BRICS and what's been going on with BRICS. Give me a yes if you've seen any of the headlines or anything else, because I want to know how many people are following this. I know a lot of you have asked me about BRICS. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and do some research and come back and do a video and share my perspective on BRICS. So BRICS is one big move with BRICS that's happening now with this coalition. Their goal, let me tell you what their goal is, generally speaking, in my view. The goal of BRICS is a couple of things. One, they want to create what is referred to as a multipolar world. Since the Cold War ended, the Cold War was when the U.S. and Russia were both sort of, comparing penis sizes and sort of standing up as the two superpowers of the earth. And the Russians or the Soviet Union falls apart, and at that point, Russia sort of descends into like this gangster state. Basically, Vladimir Putin became president because Boris Yeltsin was such a criminal. He didn't want a new president that was going to send him to jail, right? So because Russia, like the United States, is becoming that country too, they love to incarcerate the other guy. They love to incarcerate their political enemies. That's why even the whole trial of Trump is very dangerous, because if you are talking about trading tick for tack, I really have to tell you, I think that if they want to incarcerate Biden or someone in his family, they could probably do that. There's a lot of corruption in terms of Ukraine that has been thrown at Biden's feet as well, in terms of him using America's economic dominance to control the Ukrainians. There was conversation about him using the World Bank, and this is why BRICS is created, to get away from what they consider to be nonsense. Basically, he used the World Bank and went to, he's allegedly went to Ukraine and said, "You're going to get this loan from the World Bank. If you don't change certain things about your government and your judiciary, you won't get this money," right? And what people are basically saying, what the BRICS nations are saying, is you need to stop that. You need to stop using your economic power to control people's governments, to control people's culture, or to manage other countries around the world. We are not subsidiaries of the United States. We are not your little brothers or your little sisters. We're not these countries that you think you can manage all around the world. African countries are sick of it because the United States has propped up many governments throughout the years, all throughout Africa. They have literally set up capitalist greed in terms of being able to go into African countries and extract what they want and leave the people with nothing. I went to Nigeria in 2009. I gave a speech out there, and I flew in first class. They picked me up in limos, and all these guys got out of and big tall brothers. I'm 43% Nigerian. I'm very proud of that, by the way. And they got out. They all had sunglasses on. They looked like Secret Service agents, and they threw me in the car, threw my bags in the car, and drove me off really fast. Like don't even let the people get near you, because they were so worried about somebody robbing me at the airport. I kid you not. This is what happened when I was in Nigeria. I hope things are better now. I haven't been since that time, and I remember being shocked. Absolutely shocked. I could not believe that a country with that much oil also had that much poverty. I did not understand that. I said, what in the hell is going on where a country can have this much oil and this many resources and this much? I mean, I'm talking about poverty everywhere. You think you've seen poverty here in the US? You ain't seen nothing. If you ain't got a passport, you ain't seen poverty. I'm not dissing. I'm not saying that we don't have some poverty here that's concerning. Don't get me wrong. But Lord Jesus, anybody got a password? Know what I'm talking about? Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. If you have you ever been to a place where I like have you ever been like to a maybe I remember going through the slums of South Africa and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. I did not know people had to live like this. Right, or go to India or Jamaica or so I mean places I'm talking about where they really I'm talking about really poor like so poor that there are no fat people, right? Like you can't be fat and poor at the same time. If you fat and poor, then you can't be poor. That means you're eating something, you're getting some food, right? So here in the United States, we have things like poor people who are fat that have a pair of Air Jordans and a big screen TV. That ain't really poor in world standards. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So anyway, so when you have situations like that, a lot of this is created by U.S. government greed and dominance over other countries' economies and governments and things like that, right? And they're just kind of and the BRICS nations are basically saying, no, we want to go in a different direction. They want to create what they call a multipolar world where it's not just the United States and everybody else. They're creating a power base that's sort of on the other side. The other thing they want to do is, and this is something that you've asked me about, and this is something that is probably going to occur over time, which is what they call the de-dollarization of global currency. They want to de-dollarize the world economy. And what does that mean? Well, that means they want to get away from this idea that the dollar is kind of the thing to be. That the dollar is the preferred currency used in international transactions. They have things like what they call the petrodollar. The petrodollar was pretty much established because they made deals with oil producing countries, and they said, look, we're going to do a debo for you. We got weapons and all kinds of stuff that we can offer to you, as long as you agree to do all your your oil transactions in dollars, right? So that means any country that buys oil from you has to have dollars to buy your petroleum. That's why they call them petrodollars, right? So that means that the countries that want to get oil have to have dollars. The countries that are selling the oil are going to have massive dollar reserves. And what that effectively does is it makes the dollar kind of the only game in town. Well, when the dollar becomes the only game in town, what effectively then happens is that the United States then has access to a lot of political power all throughout the world. See, if I don't have anything in your house that I effectively control, then it's really hard for me to control you. That's why I tell you to teach your kids to grow up to become economically independent. If you teach them, if you make them entrepreneurs and investors and they're economically secure, they don't have to worry as much about that day-to-day racism on the job because they don't have to go get a job if they don't want to, right? They don't have any, there's nothing. See, it's the people who pay your bills will always be able to control your life on some level, right? So if you ever want to have freedom, then find a way to pay your own bills. I went through that with my parents. My parents they would impose economic sanctions on me because they were paying my bills. And I said, you know what, let me get a job so I can pay my own bills. And then you can't tell me what to do. True. Let me tell you another example. Real life example. This anybody else got kids? How many of y'all got kids? How many of y'all got kids and you want to teach them about economics? Give me a yes if you have kids and your kids are going to be economically prepared for the future. Give me a yes. I hope I see a lot of yeses because I want to know that as a community we have agreed that we're going to get our kids ready for the future. We're not going to leave them out here struggling. Your daughter out here sleeping with some fat raggedy old man so she can get the rent paid. Your son ain't out here taking penitentiary chances so he can get a couple dollars in his pocket. Give me a yes if you are teaching your kids about economics or talking to them about it, or you plan to. Give me a yes. Okay. So if you got kids, here's the thing. So you want to teach them about economics, but if you have kids like us, kids can be crafty. Kids can get on your damn nerves. Kids can be hard to manage. Well, let me tell you how I use my extensive training in economics to be able to manage the kids. Me and my wife, we are the United States government in this house, right? Now it's bad when it happens out there, but in our house, it helps us to manage the children. Let me tell you what we did. We had a middle child who we couldn't quite motivate her to do the things we needed her to do. She's an absolute genius. I wanted her to do more sports. I wanted her to, do more activities. I wanted her to do certain things academically. And it was really hard because we'd be like, you want to do it? She'd be like, no. Right? A lot, teenagers, I don't want to do nothing. Well, guess what? Here's what happened. This is interesting, right? So one day I'm observing her. I just observe and wait. Just wait. I'm patient. Just like, okay, I'm gonna wait to just see what's going on here. It took years to do this. And then I noticed that she really likes like fancy stuff. Like she really likes material stuff. She wants to have the nicest Coach purse. She wants to have Gucci this and Prada and Red Bottom. Like she likes all that fancy stuff. I said, there we go. Okay, that's our opportunity here, right? So then because she ain't got no money, right? So she got caviar taste, but a beer budget, right? So she's kind of stuck in a dilemma, right? How do you have fancy taste when you're broke? Well, when she got about 15 or 16 and she wanted those things, then guess what? You had to come talk to me because I control the economics in the house. Her mother controls the economics in the house. I know money. I have money. I can provide. I can make your dreams come true. But before that happens, we got to have conversations about your behavior. We have to have conversations about what you're doing with your spare time. You might have to sit and listen to Boyce lecture about something on economics that you might not have paid attention to back before you knew you needed something, right? So again, I don't want to make it sound like it's manipulative. It wasn't designed to be manipulative, and in this case, it was sort of kid management, right? You don't want to guide them in the right direction. But once she came and started working for me, I was then able to have certain conversations with her about investing, about life choices, about preparing for the future that were difficult to have before we kind of knew what she wanted, what she needed. So my point here is to say that in a way, it's cool when you do that with your kid because you love your child. You want what's best for your child. Any manipulation of the kids is done for their benefit, right? But see, the problem though is it's not good when the person that's able to manipulate you doesn't love you, when they don't like you, right? How many of you would agree with me if I say that most of white society has kind of shown they don't really like black people? Give me a yes if you would agree with that statement. It's not anti-white. I don't dislike white people, but how many of you would agree that historically black people have never been really loved in this country? Give me a yes if you agree that black people don't really have any allies. Give me a yes if you agree that we're kind of in this by ourselves, that we don't really have anybody that shows up. That give me a yes if you agree that Superman ain't coming, ain't nobody gonna come help us, ain't nobody gonna come save our community, save our families, none of that. Okay, so if you agree with that statement, then effectively what you have to understand though is that it is very dangerous. And this, I'm getting back to BRICS, I promise, but I want to explain it in a way where you fully understand it. I don't want to just talk about it as a global issue. I don't want you to think you're not connected to this. They're bricking, the bricks are being thrown right at your head. You getting the biggest bricks thrown right at you, right? So it's very dangerous when the people that control you economically and culturally and politically are people who have been proven consistently to dislike you, right? You are so it's almost like, imagine if I was a mean abusive I'm technically the stepfather. I prefer to use the term bonus dad, but I love that role. I love mentoring black children. It's a blessing and a privilege, the greatest joy of my life. But imagine if I was an abusive stepdad. Imagine if I was a bad person, or imagine if I just hated black people, or I hated black girls, or something like that. Well, then that would be a very dangerous position for her to be in. See, and when you are sending your kids and you're sending yourself out into this economy run by people who have proven that they don't like you, but yet you're economically dependent on them, you are in danger, 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 danger. And so effectively, the BRICS coalition is a global version of exactly what black people experience every single day in the week. And so my job, my goal, my purpose, the reason I'm talking to you guys every single day is because I'm trying my best to help you see the problem and then prepare to solve the problem, because I want you to do the same thing that BRICS is doing. See, here's the thing about BRICS. And actually, before I jump into that point, could y'all do me a favor, please, and hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm on TikTok right now, by the way. What's up to everybody on TikTok? My TikTok is I think Boyce Watkins. I think you should look up Boyce Watkins on TikTok. But they're fake accounts. Like, they have thousands of fake accounts with my name on it. So be really careful. I think I have about 29,000 or something like that. So make sure it's the right one. But feel free to follow me on TikTok. Also, I have a Telegram page, a Black Investors channel on Telegram. So if you go to drboycetelegram.com, you can follow there. Also, you can get profit alerts if you text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. I'll send you our $5 a day investing plan in the Black Business School. We've helped over 10 million people invest for the first time. Also, in fact, we got over 1 billion views on different videos. We've done things like that. Also, I'll send you a training I did on how to make money without working. So feel free to take a look at all that. All right. So let me hop back into this. So the one thing about BRICS countries is that the BRICS country, the BRICS plan is a powerful plan, right? It's a great idea. It should have been done a long time ago. It's now gaining momentum because the United States is getting a lot of ill will, a lot of negative will, or I don't say negative publicity, but a lot of people are mad at the U.S. all around the world because they use their money to achieve political gains, right? They're constantly engaging in economic warfare with other countries. I think white supremacy is connected to this because there's sort of an entitlement. There's a self-righteousness. There's sort of this belief that if you don't think the way we think, then we have the right to do whatever we want to, right? This goes all the way back to when the missionaries and the colonizers would come in and judge Africans based on whatever religion they were doing or whatever. So effectively, the goal to de-dollarize, to remove the dollar as the dominant currency in global transactions, it could actually have an effect sooner than we expect, but this is a long-term play. This is a long-term play. Let me tell you why it's a long-term play. Right now, BRICS, sure, BRICS has an impact right now. BRICS, it is making a difference now. But I don't think your dollar is going to go to nothing overnight. Just give it about 40 years. Give it to, do you know that by the year, two BRICS countries and more have joined? I'm going to mention the countries that have joined recently, why it's a big deal. By 2075, China and India will have the two biggest economies on the entire planet. Did y'all know that? How many of y'all knew that? By 2075, China and India will be the top two economies on the earth. Those are BRICS countries, y'all. Those are BRICS nations. In fact, right now, I wrote down some data. I'm going to share it with you. BRICS countries right now, before the recent expansion, represented 40% of the global population. 40% of the global population, 1/3 of the global GDP. So they got, like the dope dealers rap about having bricks. No, they got real bricks. They got real financial bricks, not the type of bricks that'll get you sent to jail, but they got bricks that they can hit you upside the head with. So they're really stacking bricks over here. Also, in terms of the share of gross domestic product globally, the share of the global economy measured on what they call PPP, purchasing power parity, which is where you basically look at how much you can actually buy with the money that you actually control. They've actually passed the United States in terms of their share of the global economy on a PPP basis. Don't worry about exactly what a PPP. It's not a PPP loan. This is something different. Purchasing power parity is an economic term. Long story short, BRICS is really serious. BRICS is significant. BRICS, I wouldn't say BRICS is a failure, but but there are risks, and I'm gonna break some of that down in terms of what they're grappling with right now. But BRICS is real. I think BRICS is it's showing up as a force. 20 countries applied to be members of BRICS this year. So a lot of countries are lining up saying, hey, we're tired of the United States too. What do we do? But here's the complication. Remember, I told you all that don't ever let anybody tell you that the US dollar is backed by nothing. You never let anybody tell you that the US dollar is not backed by anything. That's just simply not true. It's backed by this thing called the military. It's backed by Black Hawk helicopters and cruise missiles and whatever other crazy weapons they have that nobody knows about. Right. I mean, I've even heard stories about them allegedly having weapons that can manage either weather or cause earthquakes, things like that. Is that true? I don't know. But that's not out of the question, right? And so, I just went to see Oppenheimer last night, which is a crazy movie, by the way. It's all about the guy who created the first atomic bomb. We were the only people crazy enough to drop a bomb on citizens, which I think is absolutely terrible. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I understand the discussion around the dropping of the atomic bomb, but I can't help but feel like that could be something that could lead to karma, and I hate it. I just hate it because remember when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. They flew over the citizens of Hawaii. They flew over the people. They did not drop their bombs on, little kids going to school and little old ladies in the park. They didn't drop their bombs on hospitals, So we've done that, right? So we've got some things we're gonna have to deal with, right? And again, but all due respect to those of you that serve in the military, I know a lot of soldiers follow the platform, and I'm not here to turn you against anybody. I don't do that. I'm not here to tell you what your politics need to be. I'm just here to say that there are some things that do concern me. Okay, there's some things that concern me, and so Sharif Smith, who says that his daughters listen to the podcast all the time. By the way, you're smart. They have a smart father, Sharif, because you're exposing your children to complex ideas in an early age. That gives them a massive advantage over everybody else. So congratulations to you for being a great father. Fathers matter, by the way. I hate the fact that we think fathers don't matter. It drives me crazy. People will say, well, studies show that even houses that don't have a father, the children grow up to be just as well off as the kids, the kids who have the father. And I'm not saying that you can't be successful in that context, but I wonder if they would ever say that about the mother. Like if 76% of all Black children grow up without a father in the house, right? I'm not saying without a father, period. I'm saying without a father in the house. So do you think, give me a yes or no, do you think that the Black community would be just as well off if 76% of all mothers lived outside the house? What do you think? If they took if they took 3 out of every 4 moms out of the house and left them with their daddy, do you think the kids would be the same? Do you think they'd be just as well off? What do y'all think? Let's use logic here. Let's sort of look at that. Like, let's switch the gender. And so I'm sorry, you live in a country that's taught you that men like Sharif don't matter. But I'm gonna tell you, I know for a fact men like Sharif matter because daddies can do things mamas can't do, just like mamas can do things daddies can't do. Stop letting people get you to think that illogical things are logical. Stop letting them make you think that lies are truth, or things that are false are true. That's no. I'm not saying you can't find a way around not having both parents. It's true. It happens. It's a fact, right? But Lord, man, to have somebody chop your leg off and then make you think that you got 2 legs, that's just crazy. And then you wonder why you hopping and you falling down all the time. They're like, well, why you keep falling? You got 2 legs. you're like, no, you don't. I mean, doesn't mean you can't find another way to get around, but you're gonna have to figure out a way around that. You're gonna have to fix that. Let me stop. Let me get back to it. But by the way, in my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I talk about things like this. I talk about family structure and how family structure is connected to wealth, but also family structure creates culture. So same way Sharif has made it part of his family culture to do something that a lot of parents don't think to do, which is to say, let's go listen to this guy, Dr. Boyce Watkins. He cusses sometimes, but he means well, and he knows a couple of things. Well, you're exposing your children to a college professor. Do you understand how heavy that is? How huge that is? Do you all know? I mean, again, I'm not the smartest person on earth, but I ain't a dummy. I've had a PhD for 20 years. I've taught at University of Kentucky, Indiana University, and a bunch of other colleges. So I can't be that stupid. I was teaching college when I was 22 years old. Do you know that I did not meet my first college professor until I was 19? Did y'all know that? I'd never even seen a black college professor until I was 19 years old. So the fact that you're introducing your children to a college professor at the age of 12 or 9 or 7, that's massive. That's huge. So don't underestimate the gravity of the little things that you're doing right now to get your kids ready for the next level. Get them ready. Get them prepared like a basketball game. Like the big game is coming. And economics is a massive and powerful game. If the warfare is declared all over the world economically, somebody's going to declare economic warfare on your child. And if they ain't ready, they're going to get slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered. They're going to be caught, wrangled up, branded like a cow, and thrown into slavery. I'm really talking to people that love their kids enough to get them ready for the battle that's coming, because it's coming. It's out there. I want to break it down for you. So let's keep talking about BRICS. Okay, so this economic warfare concept isn't just something that happens to black people. It also happens on a global scale. So BRICS is the response to U.S. global economic warfare. It's a response to the fact that the United States uses its economic resources to impose its will, its values, and to tell people what to do. And recently, BRICS was in the news also because they had, from what I understand, a bunch of countries just joined BRICS or just admitted. And the countries, based on what I saw, were Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, the United Arab Emirates. Arabs ain't broke, y'all. Arabs are not broke. Iran and Saudi Arabia. Holy crap. Holy crap. Now, the crazy thing about it, though, that's interesting, while I'm looking to see how this plays out, is there's a little bit of a conflict of interest within BRICS. The Chinese are like, not only do we want to break away from the United States economically, but we don't like those suckers. We don't like those fools. We ready to go to war with these suckers. A country like Saudi Arabia is like, yo, look, we ain't trying to fight the United States now. We ain't trying to be lining up for battle. We don't like their economic dominance, but we're not trying to get into no gangster stuff with the U.S. So China and Russia are kind of the gangsters of the group. They're the ones. They're like Old Dog and Menace to Society. Remember Old Dog, who he was Kane's best friend, and they would go somewhere and do something, and Old Dog would bring the gun and be ready to pull the strap out on anybody. Well, China and Russia are the gangsters of BRICS, in my opinion. They're the ones that want that are willing to take it all the way to the line with the United States. And other countries are like, no, we don't want to fight the United States. We just want them to take their foot off our neck. We want them to stop telling us what to do. We want to be economically independent. We're not ready for any sort of global war. And this, in my view, is one of the things that could threaten the unity behind BRICS and what it represents. But I think in terms of it being a response to the G7, which the G7 is kind of basically a bunch of white people that got together and said, we're going to run the world. I love it. I think that's absolutely positively a good thing, a good development for the world. The United States needs to learn how to share power instead of thinking they're supposed to have all the power. They need to let other countries have the same type of freedom that we expect to have. We don't, for whatever reason, we somehow think that we can have things that other people aren't allowed to have. We also have this false belief that if an emerging economy is starting to grow, that's competition and we got to take that economy down. We got to control that economy. And no, you're not supposed to control everybody on the planet, but that's what the U.S. does, and that's why people get so upset with the United States. Anyway, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Let me give you the stock. I told you all I was going to give you the profit alert for today, and so anybody who wants to be a smart aleck in the comments can type. He tells us about the stock at the 40 minute 30-second mark. People always do that. They say he talks too much. He keeps going. So tell them at the 40-minute and 30-second mark. That's when I get to the stock. The stock that I bought, this is not investing advice. The stock that I bought is Arcutis Biotherapeutics. And that ticker symbol is ARQT. ARQT, like a cutie pie, cutie pie, you the reason why. Anyway, ARQT, that's Alpha Romeo Quebec with Tango. Alpha Romeo Quebec Tango. I'm trying to practice the phonetic alphabet. I'm getting my pilot's license, so I got to learn how to how to speak with the phonetic alphabet. Again, no guarantees. This is not investing advice. I spoke to a lot of you that were asking me about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund and basically saying that I do not give investing advice on my channel. But speaking of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, I support Black businesses like crazy. I supported dozens of them. Tulsa was one of them, but also I've supported Julian Gordon, who is also asking hard questions with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. I think those questions should be answered. I think that that's totally appropriate. At the same time, I want to make it clear that I've never been paid to endorse the Tulsa Fund, so I didn't keep up with the specifics of their finances. When I saw the numbers, I was like, okay, you got some questions to answer. But at the same time, I want you to give me a yes in the chat so everybody understands that. Give me a yes if you understand that I do not give you investing advice. I will tell you stocks I'm buying for my family. I will tell you what I think about things, but give me a yes if you understand, a verbal yes in the chat. I have to keep asking this because there are people that want to maybe make things up and say, oh, he's telling people what to do. I've never told anybody what to do. Even in politics, when I say I don't want to be a Democrat or Republican, there are people who will falsely say, Dr. Boyce told Black people not to vote. I don't tell Black people what to do. That's completely the antithesis of what I believe, which is that I believe you should have freedom. I believe you should have freedom. I think freedom means that I can sort of tell you what I think. I can give you a perspective, but ultimately I want to empower you to make your best decision. Okay. So when you talk about investing, one thing I'll tell you for sure is never put your last dollars into anything. You know, never, I don't care how much you believe in an investment. If all you got is $1,000, do not go put your whole thousand in your cousin's liquor store or in your mama's new laundromat or your so-and-so's new business. You should not do that. So be very careful because investing does involve risk. Investing is like baseball. Even good baseball players might miss 60-70% of their shots. I think Babe Ruth missed 3 out of every 4 times he swung at the ball, but he's still Babe Ruth, right? So the same thing is true when you're talking about investing. You miss a lot of shots, but you have to keep shooting and stay in the game because that's where the wealth is created. Do you get what I'm saying? I want to make sure you understand that. Okay, so hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. So again, the profit alert is Arcutis Biotherapeutics. That's ARQT. I bought some shares today. It's gonna activate on Monday. And also, if you'd like to get the profit alerts sent to you via text, you can go to BoyceWatkins.com. On my website, BoyceWatkins.com, you will find not just the profit alerts, but you also find our $5 a day investing plan. You'll also find a training on how to make money without working, so you can do that there. You can also text the word stock to 31996. Another reminder: this podcast is on Spotify, so if you look for my name on Spotify, you can find it there. And last but not least, I'll be in Los Angeles the 8th and the 9th. So if you'd like to learn more about that, just go to BoyceWatkins.com. I'll be in Los Angeles, and then at the end of September, I'll be in Austin for a Wealth and Power Summit. And then, of course, the All Black National Convention, which is the biggest gathering of intelligent Black people on the planet, is happening in Atlanta, October 20th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. But to make it easy, I also put that on my website, BoyceWatkins.com. So tons of free resources there to help your family. All right, so let's close up this conversation on BRICS. A couple more things that I want to mention about BRICS that I really like. BRICS is BRICS. In case you don't know, it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and it's a coalition that's been created to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar. A lot of countries are behind it. I think it's a good idea. I personally think that the United States needs to be challenged a little bit in terms of its power. One thing that is happening also with BRICS is that they have created an alternative to the IMF or to the what would they call the World Bank, right? So the World Bank would loan money to other countries and put all these stipulations on what they could do with the money, what their politics had to be with the money. Basically, BRICS has created a development bank where countries can borrow money without all these crazy restrictions. They're actually allowed to have a type of sovereignty that they weren't allowed under the rule of the United States. It's not a big bank. I think they mentioned a number like $30 billion. That's not a ton of money to really get things done, but it's a great start. And I think that it's something that is going to be impactful. In fact, I saw a chart that basically talked about where economies are going. The U.S. is headed south in terms of our economic power. We're just headed south as a country. A few reasons might be the fact that we don't educate our kids. I mean, that right there is going to screw you. B1 people, you're educating your kids, so your kids are going to dominate in the future. And also the other things that we have other political issues. For example, we have a lot of gun violence because we refuse to make gun laws that make sense. We also have issues with food. So many people are getting cancer. How many of you got a relative that's gotten cancer or died from cancer? Give me a yes if you or somebody you know has been hit by cancer. And my heart goes out if you have. Cancer is a big deal. It's happening so much, happening everywhere. And a lot of it, I believe, is because the capitalism allows the FDA to approve food in the United States that can't be eaten in other places. So most countries don't have the cancer problem the United States has because our government literally allows corporations to feed us poison. And I could keep going down the list, and not to mention all the other illnesses, the diabetes, heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, all this other stuff, right? So effectively, the United States, I think, generally speaking, because we're so committed to capitalism and we're a little bit too money hungry, we're just sort of headed on the downslope. I think China, if China can maintain its government and its power and its structure, I think China is going to be the big elephant in the room by the year 2070. Right now, it's interesting because in the Black Business School, we also have something called Project 2070. I've told you guys about it. I wrote about it in a short book I wrote called "It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar: A New Paradigm for Black America." And I went on tour to talk about this book and these ideas back in 2013. Dr. Cornel West joined me in one city, another city. Louis Farrakhan joined me, and Dr. Steve Perry joined me in D.C., where we in each city we were talking about the fact that as a community, in order for us to dominate and thrive and to grow, we have to focus our energy in at least certain 4 key areas. And I said, was it wealth, education, family, and community? Wealth, education, family, and community. And I gave specific steps on what things that we need to do as families to make sure that our children are dominant, but it's going to take time, right? It doesn't happen overnight. We're in year 13 of our 60-year plan. We're in year 13. And in the 13 years that we've been doing this, how many of you have noticed? Give me a yes if you noticed. How many of you have noticed that Black wealth has kind of become much more prevalent in Black culture in the last 13 years? How many of you know? I'm gonna go ahead and take credit for some of the people on our platform. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm not saying that I'm the originator of everything. People like Dr. Claude Anderson deserve far more credit than me. Without him, there would be no me. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Back when I started in 08, 07, what nobody talking about this. When I started doing this, I was the only one that had a big platform that was doing this. Give me a yes if you notice the difference. In 07, 08, what nobody doing this? 09, 010, 10, 11, 11, 12. And then slowly but surely you started seeing culture change, right? Well, this was part of my master plan. This was my plan. My plan was because I said to myself, I said, if I can get us as Black people to understand that we care about money, right? I mean, we kind of are. You hear rappers rap and they'll say, money over everything, money over hoes, money, 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 power, respect is the key to life, right? I'm like, if you want money, then you should understand how to get it. Why would you love something that you can't acquire? Like, why would you love something that you ain't got and you ain't never made a plan to get it? That don't even make no damn sense. Like if I love pizza, then I'm going to have a list of phone numbers of places I can call to get me a damn pizza. You know, if I love women, I'm not going to go to a gay bar if I love women. You understand? If I love women, no disrespect. If I love women, I'm gonna find out where the ladies at. I'm not gonna show up at a gay bar. So effectively, as black people, I never understood for a second. I said the brainwashing has to be deep for us to have this much love for money, but have so much resistance to financial literacy training as a basic tenet of what it means to be black. I just don't get it. I didn't understand that. So I said, okay, this is easy for me. I've been teaching finance for a long time, and I taught, college students and stuff, and their families like money, and their families kind of seem to get it. Like I teach these really wealthy Jewish kids and rich Asian kids, and when I was back in the faculty of Syracuse, and I was like, yeah, they understand what financial culture looks like, and financial culture means that the things that matter to you, you build on that, you protect that, you grow that, you set up structure around that. So it wasn't like it was hard to break it down and explain it. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna go through life and I'm just gonna preach it like I'm a pastor. I'm just gonna talk about this repeatedly over and over and hope that somebody listens. And as a result, in year 13 of our or sorry, yeah, year 13 of our 60-year plan, because I wrote that book about 2010. It takes a village to raise the bar. It's on Amazon, but I'll give it to you for free. If you get on my Telegram channel, you can have a free copy. You don't have to pay for it. My Telegram channel is Dr. Boyce Telegram, drboycetelegram.com. I said, yeah, if we nail down these 4 areas, wealth, we train our kids on wealth at the highest levels at an early age, just like we're training them on basketball, football, cheerleading, all this other stuff that they know how to do that doesn't pay them any money. Education, we have to understand that the greatest cultures on earth, like the Nigerian cultures or Indian cultures, things like that, Jewish cultures, they value education at a very high level. So education has to be paramount. The right education, though, it can't just be a bunch of white supremacists teaching you how wonderful Ben Franklin was, but not teaching you about Marcus Garvey. So I believe parents should be the primary educators of their children. Education can be very toxic if it's the wrong education. Education is like food, right? Food is not always healthy. It's not always unhealthy, but you need food, but you need the right kind of food. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you get that analogy. It's wealth, education, family. You had your families destroyed systematically. They did that on purpose. They did that on purpose because they knew that if you don't have a strong family base to launch from, then you can't go very far. It's very, very hard. Like launching out of a family is like launching a rocket. If a rocket does not have a base, then the rocket cannot go very high. You cannot launch a rocket to Mars when you're launching it out of somebody's alley, out of a backyard alley. You cannot launch a rocket that goes to the moon if you're launching it out of a birthday cake. It doesn't make any sense, right? So a family is your launching pad. If you have a solid family structure where you were protected, nurtured, raised properly, and preserved in an appropriate way, spiritually, psychologically, and physically, then you can launch into the world as a strong, capable being that can go to the moon. But if you are raised in the middle of chaos, if you're not, if you're being slapped around and mistreated and disrespected and hurt and harmed and traumatized constantly, then by the time you get out to the world, you're like a stumbling drunk. You don't know. Think about this. Anybody know somebody who's just been through all kinds of shit since they were little, like kicked around in foster homes, mom and daddy didn't love them, daddy was on drugs, somebody tried to rape them when they were 4, and that person has a very hard time accomplishing at a high level because they're spending the next 40 years overcoming all the tragedy that happened in the first 18 years of their life. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. Like this is what's happening to your kids. So if they keep you slapped around and distracted in that way, then you never become a competitive threat. You can never all you can do at that point is become enough of a slave that you can find some place in the economy where they'll at least give you enough money to go eat and pay your rent, because the rest of the time you're spending your energy being traumatized or re-traumatizing other people or just trying to survive. If you're in survival mode, it's very, very hard to accumulate power. It's very, very hard to play Powernomics when you're busy playing Strugglenomics. It's very hard to become an Olympic swimmer if your goal is to keep from drowning. And a lot of our people get stuck in situations where all they're trying to do is not drown. Like, how you doing, man? I don't know, dog. Barely making it, man. You know what I'm talking about? Those struggle conversations. Like, yeah, it's rough out here. I'm surviving. I'm surviving, right? And I'm not making fun of that. I get it. But how about this? How about you create children, and we deliberately and constructively create children that aren't just surviving, they're thriving. They're not just trying to stay out of the dirt. They're flying like eagles. They're 1,000 feet in the air. there has to be a plan for that. Somebody has to care about you enough to make a plan. Like I was explaining, if you go to boycewatkins.com, I have the $5 a day plan, which is free. Everybody can have it. And I was explaining, I said, this is why it's so easy. Teaching the finance, it's easy for me because I know all this. I've been trained on this for 20 years. Probably 40 years now, 30, I don't know, since I was 18, whatever. Anyway, I said, okay, so I created the $5 a day investing plan to show you basically how a person investing about $5 a day, $35 a week, $150, $140 a month would have, $29,000 after 10 years, $102,000 after 20 years, approximately, give or take a few thousand, and about $250,000 after 30 years, and $750,000 after 40 years, right? So within one generation, you go from poverty to wealth. Very easy calculation, not hard to do. But I said, but I mentioned this earlier, and if you heard me say it earlier, I apologize. But maybe hearing it again will help you to really understand how powerful this is and why I'm repeating myself. But I said, think about this: the average new car note is about $750 a month, right? So that's not $150 a month. That's literally 150 times 5. So if a person literally just change one core value, in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, all I talk about is culture. I talk specifically about what wealth culture looks like. And I said, so if a person simply said, I love my child as much as I love my car, basic stuff, right? All of us, give me a yes or no if you love your kids more than you love your car, or it's at least as much. Maybe it's a tie. It's okay. I'm not judging. Give me a yes if you at least love your kids as much as you love your car, right? So if you love your kids as much as you love your car, then that means that you're not talking about investing and you get a new car, right? Your car note is an average of $750 a month, which is what the average new car note is in America right now. So you're not investing $150 a month, you're investing $750. So the numbers are multiplied by 5. So that means that instead of your child having approximately $29,000 after 10 years, they've now got $150,000 after 10 years. After 20 years, instead of having $102,000, they've now got $500,000. 20 years old, $500,000 invested for them. And your child ain't gonna have no problems. They never have to work for anybody ever for the rest of their life, right? 30 years, it's not $250,000, it's $1.25 million. 40 years, it's not $750,000, it is $750,000 times 5. I got to do the math. What's that? $3.75 million. Easy, straightforward, easy play. And again, I'm not saying send that money to me. So I'll make that clear. This is not me trying to talk you into doing anything that involves me. You don't need me for that. All you need is love for your child and enough vision to be able to see the future. And maybe you have to just trust me enough, trust my training enough to believe me when I tell you that by simply buying these stocks consistently at a certain level, picking S&P 500 companies, or you can go to mutual fund. I even tell you what mutual fund. You can pick VOO, Victor Oscar, Vanguard Fund, or SPY, which is Sierra Papa Yankee, right? One of those two will do it. And all you got to do is don't sell. Don't sell out. Don't sell out your kids. You got to plant. You got to put the buns in the oven and let them cook. You got to cook the damn food in the roaster long enough to let it grow, become what it's supposed to be. You cannot go in there picking and pulling it out because you're too short-sighted to see the long-term vision. This is where rich people come from. If you look at most wealthy families started off with an individual or group of people who were visionaries, who planted a seed and just let it grow. They planted a seed and they kept watering it every day and let it grow. The NFL is nothing but the result of a group of people who got together and made up these football teams called the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. And they bought the teams for like $25, $50, $100. And then they said, this is our sports league. We're going to put our attention on this. We're not going to spend our time off working for other people. We're going to be working on this. We're not going to forget about the baby. We're going to feed the baby every day, even if the baby's small, even if the baby's ugly, even if it looks like the baby ain't gonna grow. This is our baby. And then a generation later, you've got all these teams that I mentioned worth several $billion. They put the food in the oven and then they let it cook. That's all investing is. Put it in the oven, let it cook. You do that, it's easy. A 4-year-old could do that. You don't need to go to college and take a bunch of classes to do this. No, you don't need you don't need a doctorate to know these things. Maybe you need a doctorate to understand what's important. That's where I can come in and help you. I've done all the mathematics behind financial valuations. I have done high-level math. I'm talking about classes with math PhD students in it, like that hard stuff. I've done all the math behind the statistics, all the probability theory, all the different statistical analyses that's required to do what I do, right? And what happens that's really fascinating is that you get down to where you're like, okay, let me sift through all the complex stuff, all the long, fancy 4-syllable words that a financial advisor might use that will scare you and confuse you. And let's say, oh, there it is. There's something called the efficient markets hypothesis, which I understand very well, which basically says all you got to do is this and invest consistently at this rate and your family goes from poverty to wealth. Boom, touchdown, easy play. Now, here's the hard part. The hard part is getting people to listen in a world that's full of distractions. The hard part is getting us to shift our family culture when you have so much anti-wealth energy all around you. The hard part is fighting through some of the Negro naysayers who find a problem with every solution, who truly do not want Black people to be successful at anything, so they don't have anything to complain about. Next, it is hard to change culture because what's happened is that I'm talking to a group of people, us, who unfortunately we are like the prostitute, where you're trying to liberate the prostitute, but then you got to go fight the pimp because the pimp is like, that hoe chose me. That's my hoe, and I'm making money from that hoe. So now you're not just dealing with the psychological setbacks of the prostitute. You got to go fight her pimp. And so effectively, this is the challenge that you have when you're trying to shift culture. Some of you see it right in your own family. You see people where you're like, man, I have these great ideas that can really help our family. And there are people that are just like in your family that will fight you over that will make fun of you, that will ignore you, that will tell you that you're stupid. And I just say, don't fight all those people. You can't do it. You can't. They say it's really hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's impossible to win an argument with an ignorant person. Did y'all get that? It's hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's impossible to win an argument with an ignorant person. So if somebody's ignorant and you see the ignorance, just focus on you. Fix you. Fix you because we have enough stuff, all of us, myself included, we have enough bad habits that limit us in so many ways. We have so much potential that isn't tapped into because we're so stuck on doing things in the way that we've done it before. And I just want to help you get past that. I want to help you get past that. Now, by the way, on TikTok, he's saying my volume changed. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all hear me? I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know why the volume changed. But anyway, if you can hear me, give me a yes if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me also on YouTube. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and finish this conversation. Before I move out of here, a reminder, if you want to take a look, again, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Also, if you want to teach wealth to your kids, we have tools in the Black Business School. Like we have financial flashcards for kids. Like these are flashcards on credit. And we have flashcards on real estate, entrepreneurship, things like that. So it's just basic terms that we think kids should know. For example, what's a penalty APR? And on the back, there's the definition. What is the minimum payment? What is a late payment? What is an introductory APR, right? So we have a lot of stuff that you can take a look at. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, or you can also go to drboycebooks.com. drboycebooks.com is another platform. And I have other series called Black American Money, things like that. Also, reminder, I'll be in Los Angeles next week, September 8th and 9th. So if you'd like to meet up in person and chop it up for a couple of days, I'm doing a wealth training, the 2-day wealth training in LA. You can go to boycewatkins.com to get more information there. I'll be in Austin at the end of September for the Wealth and Power Summit. And then the All Black National Convention is October 20th through the 22nd. It's a lot of fun. It's great for networking. It's like a big family reunion. But on top of that, we have over 40 experts that are going to be there. We're literally making Black history this year because we have 40 experts that are there independently without any corporate funding, no government money. We're not here to celebrate rappers and other silly stuff. We're basically gathering intelligent Black people from the community who care about the Black community. And in addition to that, the Black Doctoral Network is in the same building, which is the largest organization of Black PhDs in the country. I've talked to their president. They're going to bring some people down to work with us. We're going to send some people to work with them. So we're actually working together to lift our community up because I'm tired of waiting for other people to do a job that we can do. I'm tired of waiting for somebody to save us when we can save ourselves. I'm tired of believing that somebody else, some melanin deficient person, is somehow smarter and more capable at building our community than we are. And I just don't believe that. All right. So anyway, do you have a YouTube account dedicated to coincide with the flashcards? No, we don't. We don't. But it is part of our Black Business School for Children called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. If you go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com, you can feel free to go take a look. And that's, and then we're actually going to create a YouTube channel called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. And so we're thinking about doing some things like there's a URL, by the way. We are thinking about creating some more things for kids. So that's something that we are looking to do. Because here's the thing. One of the things I figured this out when I was teaching at Syracuse years ago. I remember in about 04, 05, and I remember teaching, all this stuff, and I was teaching a lot of kids that were not black. Most of them weren't black. The tuition at Syracuse is very high. It's like over $70,000 a year. So most black people could not afford to go there. And even the ones that could, they're still in debt. They're in debt for the rest of their life. So effectively, I don't know what the benefit of that is to get a degree if you're in debt until you die. But anyway, I remember thinking, I said, this is really powerful stuff. Like a lot of these kids would go to Wall Street and end up, making millions of dollars with these Wall Street firms. And I said, imagine if we were, as black people, what if we taught these things to our kids while they're still 7 to 8 years old? Right? Like I don't believe in equality. I'm not a fan of equality. I don't think equality will ever exist. I think that's an illusion. What I believe in is winning. I believe in us fighting. I believe in us standing up and doing our best as a community to be as great as we can be. And so to me, that means winning. So that's the goal. The goal is to win. So effectively, by getting your kids ready early, your kids can actually get ahead and exceed other people's kids, stuff like that. So that's my 2 cents. In fact, I'll answer a few questions if you want me to. Let's see here. Someone says, how can one assist without appearing to encroach with your approach? You talking about assisting family members that don't want to listen? I wouldn't try to do that. Just if they think it's an encroachment, there, my wife's a therapist, and one thing my wife helped me understand that I learned from one of her therapy books is that when you give unsolicited advice, it comes off as criticism. So keep that in mind. Now, Chip Golden says, Boyce Watkins, Google him, scammer. Well, Chip, I think you're a scammer and you're uninvited because we ain't got time for ignorant people up in here. So whatever, think what you want. I'm not here begging anybody to listen to me. I'm simply sharing this with people that want to listen. So get out of here with that nonsense. All right, so let's see. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much. BRICS is a good start. They should adopt XRP as their currency for trade. That would be interesting, right? When will you be in Boston? I don't want to go to Boston right away because I like to spend time with my family. But I was in Boston. I went to Harvard to visit my friend. He's a rapper named D1, and I hung out in Boston with him for a little while, and that was a good experience. Have you given Michi her domain name? Oh, you talking about Michi X? No, she violated her contract, which means that once you violate your contract, I paid her lots of money, and once she violated her contract, I said I want nothing to do with you. So people can scream and holler all they want. If you screw me over and screw over the people I love, I will not deal with you ever again. And that's business advice. If you deal with somebody who is unethical or harmful to the people you love, don't hesitate to walk away. And I walk away from people. So if you go through the internet, you're going to find videos where people say Boyce Watkins is a jerk, whatever. But one thing you'll find is that if you go back in time, those people were also dependent on me at one point. Those people also received lots of support from me. And one thing I can tell you is I have two personalities. I want to make this clear. I have two personalities. I have the loving, helpful, like, hey, let me see what I can do for you personality. And then I have the, okay, you're toxic, I'm getting away from you personality. And the first guy is very nice. He wants to see you win. He wants to support you. The second guy says, okay, I've identified you as toxic. I'm never speaking to you again. And so what happens is that ends up jolting people. People get shocked by that. They're like, wait, we thought he was a nice guy. We thought, no, I'm not no pushover. I'm not no simp up in here. I'm not your punk. So you come in here and you hurt people that I love, or you do something unethical, you steal from me, do something, the bad or illegal, I'm not dealing with you. So that's what it is. So then what happens is people will go and they'll just say anything, right? Because if you say something negative about a black man, it's a great story, right? It's a great video. Dr. Boyce, he pretends to be a nice guy, but really he's a terrible person. People don't tell you the whole story. So effectively, there are people, and I just don't address it. I keep it moving. But generally speaking, that's how you have to do business. You have to be part philanthropist, part gangster. And I got both of those because my daddy was a gangster, and I'm not no punk. So long story short, that's what happens. You have people that get mad, people you fire, and then they get together and they say, he's bad, he's mean. But go back and look and see how much I supported those people until I realized that these were not people I needed to be associated with. So that's what happened here. Just because anybody who says something crazy like that, just ask them. Just say, well, has Boyce ever given you money? And who else gave you as much money as Boyce gave you? And the answer will probably be yes. And again, but there's also money that has to be promised too, right? Because sometimes people. One of the reasons I stopped sharing my YouTube channel with other people, I used to share my channel with people, is that there were people who I would put off my channel, and then they'd say, he never paid me to go on his channel. And I was like, when did I agree to pay you to go on my channel? We never talked about that. Nobody pays me. I let you use it. I mean, I would never expect someone to pay me if I was on their channel, right? I would say, thank you for letting me use your platform, right? So effectively, you got to just sort of understand that I don't really address criticism. It's like, fine, if you think I'm a prick, then just leave, go away. I'm here to talk to people that want to create good things in the Black community. And those who come in with too much toxic energy, or if someone is trolling the channel or in the chat just saying really nasty things, you better be a quiet troll. I'll let you troll one time. If you ask a difficult question, I will answer it. And then after that, if you keep on repeating the same thing, I will boot you out, because I don't want you here. We got so much toxicity, so much destruction in our community. And so many people, are just so hard to deal with, and it's not, I mean, I'm a professor. I got other stuff to do. I ain't got time to be sitting around listening to your nonsense. I don't have to be here. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me answer some more of your questions from those who have good questions. Will you ever go back to academia? You know what, Mikey? I feel like I'm already in academia. Me and my wife joke that we have our own little academic department. We have our basement. We tricked out the whole basement, and I have my office here, and she's over there. And I make jokes with her. I say, haha, I can go to work every day and sexually harass my the lady across the hall and not get in trouble for it. And so we see ourselves as an academic department because we work with other scholars, and her PhD is legitimate. One thing about doctorates is there are a lot of people who don't really have PhDs who call themselves doctor. I'm not making fun of them, but anybody can call themselves doctor. But I would say that if somebody says they're doctor this or doctor that, look at their background, look and ask them, where'd you get your doctorate? How many years did it take? If somebody took like 2 years to get their doctorate, that's not the same as the doctorate that takes several years to obtain. And also, most people that are doctor, whatever, their PhDs are available, and they're very open about their credentials. So my PhD was from The Ohio State University, and my dissertation's online. My dissertation chair was Andrew Caroli, who's a professor who graduated from the University of Chicago, who's now on the faculty at Cornell. I think he's the department chair there. And so my wife got her doctorate from Florida State University. Her doctorate's in social work, and she's also a licensed therapist and also a University of Chicago graduate. All right, so let's see here. The next question, Boyce, are there any upcoming specials on the Prime program coming soon? You know what, Ricardo? Go to boycewatkins.com if you want to take a look at the Prime program. A lot of you seem to like it. It's a lot of fun. It's all about generating income from your stocks with stock options, things like that. Just go to boycewatkins.com and look for the training called How to Make Money Without Working. And after you watch that training, there is an offer where you can get a discount to join the program if you'd like. So just go to boycewatkins.com and it's right there. Or you can also text the word stock to 31996 and I can send it out to you. Let's see here. Why didn't more African countries join BRICS? Well, actually, Mina, I think you have to apply to join BRICS. And so I think that not every country joined BRICS because there are some countries that don't want to upset the United States because it could cause some significant problems. There are also you also have to meet the requirements. So maybe they didn't meet the requirements yet, but I don't know all the details of that. Let's see, how is the planning for Atlanta coming? It's coming along very well. The All Black National Convention is October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. So you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to learn more. Renee, what is your Telegram channel again? It is drboycetelegram.com. That's drboycetelegram.com. That's the Black Investors channel on Telegram. Let's see here. Somebody says, Dr. Boyce, you go on and on without breathing. Are you a bot? I know. All right, I'm gonna take a deep breath. Is that good? You feel better? Okay. I just bought ARQT 10 shares for $7.74 on Robinhood. Okay, good for you. Yeah. There's no guarantees though, so just remember this is not investing advice. It's just me. The profit alerts are just me sharing what I'm gonna buy. So it may or may not. I mean, some investments don't work out. If you buy 100 stocks, 30 or 40 of them may not make a profit, right? What you're hoping is that the good outweighs the bad. So keep that in mind. Next question. Dwayne says, what were some things you did to help you when you were on your weight loss journey? I got an accountability partner. That was the number one thing that helped me a lot. My wife was my accountability partner. She would invite me to go running with her every morning. And doing that, having somebody there to remind you of who you told yourself that you want to be, I can't put a price tag on how valuable that is. Because when it's just you and the buck stops with you, it's hard to make you become someone other than what you already are, right? It's hard to make yourself act like somebody else, right? But it's easy if you have somebody to remind you to just kind of say, hey, you said you want to lose weight. Do you want to lose weight or not? And you're like, okay, I'll get up. And little things like that make a difference. Also, my wife does not keep a lot of sugar in candy in the house. And I used to do that a lot when I was single. I've eaten pizza and ice cream and candy and all that. Whereas being married disciplines a man a lot more. And unfortunately, and the thing about a wife is having a wife is hard, can be harder sometimes if you're a man, especially, when I was single, I enjoyed being single. I enjoyed doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. If I ever wanted the company of a woman, it's not hard to have a woman around when you have plenty of money and you're a smart guy and you're famous and stuff. There was too many women around. I actually had to kind of push them away because I didn't want to get into stupid situations. But the thing about marriage is that even though you are restricted in your behavior, it's good sometimes because a good wife will keep you alive a little bit longer. Like she kind of makes you do things that are going to keep you a little healthier. You're not running the street as much. You're not eating bad food as much. I'm not saying marriage is for everybody because remember, I waited to get married. I didn't get married till I was in my 40s. But still, the benefits can outweigh the cost if you do it right. Let's see here. Sharif says, ever since I've been listening to you, Doc, my finances have been going up. Good for you, man. Good for you, Sharif. Keep going, brother. Keep on going. Keep going. Keep going. Let's see here. A couple more questions. That's the greatest thing when you have husband and wife. Yeah, I think so. I think that that's I don't know. Family matters, right? Once Africa gets strong with BRICS, what's your forecast of our economy here? I don't think our economy is going to benefit from BRICS, but I don't think that it's like some sort of pending horrible collapse, like everybody's making it out to be. It's, the United States has a lot of economic power. What's going to be required is they're going to have to share that power. They're going to have to deal with the fact that we are going to move toward a bipolar world instead of a unipolar world. And that's a problem for the U.S. because the U.S. doesn't want to share power with anybody, and I don't agree with that philosophy. I think that that's not beneficial to the world. So I'm actually in approval of BRICS. I like BRICS a lot. All right, okay, all right. So I'm going to get on out of here. Okay, let's see. Were you ever into trading stocks, Doc? I read some of your dissertation. Well, you know what, Kashif, I trade stocks in the sense that I buy stocks and sell them, but I'm not really a day trader. I don't do the whole, like candlesticks and move in and move out kind of thing. Because I was sort of trained against that. I was trained to believe that that's not really a great way to make money. The when we talk about things like the $5 a day investing plan, that's really built on more of a buy and hold strategy. Again, I'm not here to say anything negative about those who do things different. I would just say that there's a lot of stress, a lot of disappointment, a lot of missed opportunities that can come with a lot of day trading. And so just be careful if you do it. Be careful if you do it. It's not, I know everyone will tell you like, oh yeah, do what I do or join my program and as a day trader and I can show you how to guarantee probably no, the markets don't work like that. Most investors make money or lose money. Is this your Telegram username at Dr. Boyce? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Or if you go to drboycetelegram.com, it should come up. Renee, let me see. Let me double check. Dr. Boyce Telegram. Please hit the thumbs up button, by the way, if you haven't done it yet. Yeah, if you hit Dr. Boyce Telegram, it should say the Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Investors Group. And there are 793 people in there now. So feel free to do that. drboycetelegram.com. All right. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. And a reminder, my podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name on Spotify, you can find it there. My new book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can find a copy at boycewatkins.com or drboycebooks.com. And the financial flashcards for children, things like that, and financial workbooks. If you have kids and you want to educate them on economics, we have a great set of workbooks and flashcards. You can go take a look at financialworkbooks.com, financialworkbooks.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you soon. Peace.